Hey YouTube, it's your girl Duchess back for another review of Love and Marriage Detroit. Season 2, Episode 3. Girl, I gotta give y'all some content and I'm running out of TV shows, so. But I do think this is pretty good. I do think it's a pretty good show. So let's get into it. Anthony buys Christina lunch and get into their meetup. She's surprised that he invited her out because things have not been great between the two of them and her guard is up. Anthony lets her know he's aware that there are some challenges at home and, he realizes that he shares some part in, how things are between the two of them and he just want to be a better version of himself and get things back on track. So she gives him the kind of stoic shoulder. We're good. I'm good. Whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. God got it, She's reluctant to share anything with him because she don't really know if he's there to pry or what's up. So Anthony just doesn't want to see her out here looking crazy. And, regardless of what goes on with them, he still cares about her. And so he wants them to be okay. And that's really where he's coming from. Additionally, he has a podcast. He wanted to invite her on to kind of talk about Christina the music and see if she'd be willing to do an interview of some sort. She'd be happy to do it. He does have to clear it with her husband first. She understands that they're in a better space, but she wants to respect her husband's position. I like that. I like that she's still giving him some respect, even though they're going through what they're going through. Or was it kind of just, the united front sort of thing? I don't know. But I appreciated her, steering him back to the husband for any type of interview or something like that. I like that part. They talk about trying to get the friend group back on track. Like, he just want everybody to be able to get along and we be able to move forward in a positive space. Christina thinks that it's a great concept. It sounds good, but I don't know if it's really achievable. Like, there were some really hurtful things said and my character was attacked. So, I don't really know. I guess they're going to agree to disagree or, give it a shot. The way that they left the meeting, she did appreciate his concern. She was very polite. She's just kind of guarded, but I guess there's always a first step when you're trying to mend things. So at least that's the direction that they're going. In the next scene, Christina is going to see her mother-in-law. I didn't realize she had been married for 12 years. It was given a little bit of passive aggressive to me. Like, I don't know if I was the only one that seen that. Like, why did you have to come bringing things if you're trying to just have a conversation, get some insight? I've been married to him for 12 years. I don't really know what to do with your child. The way that she put it was, the best person to try to get some insight into how to move forward with her husband is the woman that raised him. But to me, the communication was like, this is your fault and this is your mess. She never said that. It was just kind of like the little buzzwords. Like, she kept saying your child. She brought some of his things and returned some of whatever she had used to cook with. And she kind of led with, well, I don't know how long he's going to be here. Like, he does come to the house. Why not allow him to get what he needs from the house? It was just a couple shirts that she brought. So it was giving, I don't want to say gaslighting because that's just such an overused term, but it definitely wasn't, I come in peace. It was kind of passive aggressive to me. Anyway, they get into their conversation. She asks, how is he doing? How are they getting along? The mother was like, well, he doesn't really talk much and I don't really see him, He's normally not here when I go to bed, but he is here when I come in the morning. Christina was like, well, yeah, that's kind of like, how it was with me too. I learned that he wasn't present in the marriage. So it's helpful to me to get some insight into how they got here or what her kind of grief is. But child, her mama was like, girl, move on with your life. Get your life, girl. Don't listen. I don't know why you over here talking to me and not talking to your mama about this, but since you here, she didn't say that. But she did tell her, do what's good for you. He is over exaggerating how our issues affecting him. And I felt like that was a little unfair because I don't see how she could speak to their troubled marriage, admittedly, the parents' troubled marriage, and his dad not being a great example in how that affected him. I found that a little dismissive, but I mean, this lady was in her marriage, so she knows exactly what was going on in it. She had an outlet, she had a job, so she could kind of get away from it all. They shared some similarities in just kind of like having another child. That's what her experience was like in her marriage. And she encouraged Christina to get a life. Her children are in school now. You should have more time. Like, girl, don't be over here worrying me about this and this boy. Child, get on out of here. The mother-in-law did give some great advice. She should get independence from her husband. Regardless of how things work out between them, you need to have your own and to be able to support yourself. And Christina did admit that she depends solely on him for support. So I did think that was great advice. In the next scene, LaTonya and Anthony are having date night. And child, the last thing she want to discuss is whatever it was that happened with him and Christina's conversation. She don't care nothing about that, for real. It's not that serious for her. Yeah, this was so funny. I'm like, she must be holding out on this man. Because she was saying, this was really nice. She appreciated him doing a date night, especially in the middle of the week. And they reminisced a little bit how they used to do this all the time. He was like, yeah, we used to schedule everything, in the time after the date night. Man, those were some good times. She's looking like, boy, don't even start. But like giving him this kind of coy look. And I'm like, oh, girl, get that man some. That's the second time I done heard him kind of say he ain't trying to jump on them bones. But girl, help a brother out. I mean, just this one time for the one time. Anyway, they get into the business stuff, like what's going on with her aspects. He's kind of pulled back. It sounds like he propped up a business, like starting a wine, like their own wine line, and then she's adding champagne to it. And she is motivated to get it all done, but she does have some anxiety, kind of doing it on her own. And it was a good conversation between the two of them. He is encouraging her to make up with Christina, or at least give it a shot. He and Brandon had a conversation. They made up. They want to get the wives together, like just kind of like a meetup. Listen, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And if it does, it does. Just agree to come and at least give it your best shot. So she was like, okay, all right, well, thank you, wife. He did say some things that could be a problem at reunion time. Like, he was talking a little smack, like, girl, why would you think that we would be coming for you, or competing or whatever? It was something like that, like basically like a get over yourself kind of thing. And he did not have that same energy when he met with Christina, nor did he have that same energy when he and what's the boy name, Brandon, talked. So I mean, I need you to keep it 100 all the time, Sir Anthony, especially if you're in the peacemaker mode. So Russell is at Christina's house. He is meeting Brandon there, and he's going to do not really like a marital counseling kind of thing, just kind of like a friend conversation, biblical based for the most part, to help facilitate them working things out. Just being someone that is married, that cares about them, that has the ability to be neutral, so to speak, and from a man's perspective. I may be saying that all wrong, but the main thing was he did not want to have the weight on his shoulder as being a therapist. So Christina notices him sitting outside in the driveway just as he's hanging up with Brandon to let him know that he's there. Brandon tells him that he's right behind him. He won't be long. Christina comes out to greet him. She's like, what Brandon got some kind of ground rules or something? Like, you can come in. He was like, listen, the way I was raised, you don't come in a man's house when he's not home. And he was talking to us, the viewers, like, y'all know my wife. She don't play that. We gonna talk right out here outside. And they did. They caught up a little bit. She asked about his wife. He gave her the lowdown on the pregnancy and that she's having a girl. And he was like, it's kind of cold. You want to go on back inside? I'm going to wait out here. I love how respectful he was of his marriage and respectful of that he was of his dudes, his friends' home. I love, love, love that. Still, Anthony and LaTonya is probably my favorite couple, but I like a lot of aspects of Russell and Kolby as well. The respect thing that he had for his wife, even though, the cameras were there. But at the same time, I just like what he said. It was a great example. In their meeting, he asked Christina, like, from you, what are you expecting? Like, what is your expectations? What would you like to experience? And she kept harping on the term fruit of the spirit. She said that probably 10 times. It wasn't 10 times, but she said it a lot. He helped her out with elaborating what that means. Being kind, being respectful, being patient, being loving, being present. Just the fruit of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and to have that presence. So I understood exactly what she meant. I don't know if she understood it. It sounded like a term like a popular term right now. I just would have liked for her to have her own explanation of what that meant, because by you just saying fruit of the spirit, and I guess this is kind of getting to one of my pet peeves with just throwing statements out there without any context or any tools on how to get there, like that in between piece. But Russell did a good job, and one of the things that he asked Brandon was he reading his word? Brandon said he was, but I don't think he is, because Christina is the one that had her Bible there kind of ready to go. Brandon didn't have one. And I get that they probably didn't have a study guide to it, but the reason why I say that is that he's seeing his heart is in the right place. He wants to do it right? Whenever he mentions his relationship with God, it's always coming from a message of some sort. I'm being completely biased here because this was my advice when I kind of touched on just, is this something that I would watch kind of thing? And I'm a little bit rambling. I'm sorry, y'all. Trying to get to the point. I said that I would encourage him to read the Bible. Y'all, it's some good tea in there. And you would be surprised how you start to change. Just, it's like the spirit starts moving, and your perspective and your attitude, just the way that you see things, it just changes. And given that he's kind of in this threshold kind of space with his marriage and has done a lot of damage there, so it appears, and he wants to change to be a better person, to really show up in the way that he needs to, but he doesn't seem to have the tools. And because he has been operating like this for a while, I think that would be the best thing, is to kind of even if it's not your only tool, I'm not saying that, but he is doing himself a disservice by not utilizing that tool. And I love that Russell asked him that question. I don't think his answer was honest, because he said, yeah, I am. And I don't think that was a malicious thing. I think that his motivation to listen to church and listen to the word is what he's using to substitute it. And it's not the same thing. And I hope that he really, if this is what he wants, I hope that he goes there. Because even Christina said he doesn't go to church with her and the girls anymore. And she wants that connection in their marriage. And I understand why she wants it. because again, it changes your attitude and how you respond to certain things. The Holy Spirit is just powerful like that. I just had to give him a good old shout out. Anyway, totally off topic. I also like that Russell was leading with him. Like, he didn't ask Brandon, what are you expecting from Christina? He was totally, because he is the head, I'm assuming that's why he did that, handled it that way. I just like the way that he facilitated this conversation. And I like the way that he showed up for his friend. Christina did have some flashcards for him, though, on, what the fruit of the Spirit meant for her. And he was reading it, and he comes away from that saying, man, sometimes I feel like I married a nun. Child, are you going to be able to make this leap? He was disconnected with it. And he's saying that he doesn't have the tools, and they're giving you the tools. Russell gave you a hint. Russell asked Brandon a very important question. Are you willing to do the work that you need to do for you to be better for you, so that you can be better for this, meaning your family? And he said that he is. He said that he's been in therapy for the last year, and he recognized that he wasn't really ready for marriage, nor was he prepared for it properly. It's really hard, and the responsibilities of it is really hard, and he doesn't even think he and Christina are equally yoked. And to me, it just sounds like he knows that this is what is needed and what is expected of him. But Brandon is going to have to surrender his flesh. And I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, because, and I'm not saying that he can't, but that is what he struggled with. Because in order to do that, you got to completely take yourself away from selfish kind of things. Like, it can't be an I thing. He's got to completely surrender. And he need that word to be able to do that, because he's going to need the help of the Holy Spirit to do it too. Anyway, let's keep going. It's the work that he's got to do to get through it. So I want to see more than some lip service. It is great that he's got some ownership and can really pinpoint what his shortcomings are. He owns that. But I want to see a little bit more action. And who knows what that looks like. Russell is a good friend to him, though. And so I'm glad that he has him in his corner. Let's keep going. So Kimberly is meeting with her team. They do event planning, like on an upscale type of way, in more intimate settings, it sounds like, too. And they facilitate conversations. I don't want to say that they host meetings, because there's food there. Anyway, it sounds like a great business that she runs, and she partners with another young lady, and all of her people are Black women in head positions. And I like that for her. She gives me that edge that Black women in leadership have. It's an assertive edge that they have. We have, let me correct that, right? I'm not in that space in that sense anymore. And so that's why I'm using that terminology. But I kind of picked that up on her anyway. But I do like the way that she manages it. Her husband stops by to see her. He is very supportive and proud of his wife for being a boss lady. She's planning an event. It sounded like it's Christmas time. They're going to get donations for kids and donate those to Toys for Tots and that kind of thing. Like, it's an entire event. She wants to invite Tanya, because Tanya has her wine line, and she's, developing a champagne. And so she's hoping that she will be ready by the time that this happens. But it can be a great opportunity, and she likes what she's doing in that aspect. So she's inviting everyone, though. She's not discriminating. This is not about her. This is about charity, and I like that attitude. She and her husband talk about date night and having more dates. And he's doing a kind of lip service thing, too, because she was, compromising like a once a month. And he was like, we can do it more often. Once, a few times a month. Catch a movie, and it's, bro, y'all should already, wouldn't this be something that's already happening if you have that much time to do it and those are your plans? So I don't want to see any lip service from these guys. I want to see them actually doing it. So Tanya invited Kolby to a Pilates studio. to kind of give her some pointers and some exercises and some stretches, target the pelvic pain that she's been having. I don't know if she's a physical therapist or what her profession is, like her clinical profession is, but she gave her some great pointers. And I love that they had a conversation about this new girl baby coming. And Tanya was able to share with her that she had a similar experience, like almost went into depression, like because she wanted a girl, I guess. But she mentioned to her how she has noticed with her son that the emotions that she carried may have affected him. Like he's not as outgoing, and she said he may get that from her too, but it's just certain things about him being withdrawn sometimes. And I'm probably just kind of paraphrasing here, but the main thing is that she encouraged Kolby to be mindful of the emotions that she's carrying while she's baking this baby, right? And it resonated with Kolby, and she understood that, and she was glad that she shared that with her, because it gave her a different perspective. It kind of shifted her out of the me thing and put her into the mommy space. And I love that. I love that Tanya created a safe space for her. Like, she didn't judge her. She understood it. And, you know, she had shared with her that she had to come to grips, like, this really is a blessing. So many people can't even have children that want to have children. And she shifted her perspective. And I just love that they had that honest conversation, and that Kolby was able to get some help from her friend, I guess they're friends, that would help her in this pregnancy. I loved it. She also invited Kimberly because there were some things that she wanted to talk to Kimberly about, which was mainly about Christina and kind of moving forward and all of that piece. At the end of the day, Kimberly has her issues with Christina, and that's between her and Christina, and whatever she and Christina got going on shouldn't have anything to do with Tanya and Christina. So you guys meet and do what you do. I don't think it's going to be any progress made with us, so I'm just going to kind of leave that over there, but definitely have the conversation and meet. So Tanya, Anthony, Christina, and Brandon have a double date, and they're doing this bubble thing, how they get into, basically their entire body gets submerged into this plastic bubble that's filled with air, and you run at each other and bump each other, and you know, the person that falls down first is the one who loses or whatever. So that was kind of fun for them, and they enjoyed it, and they appreciated having an icebreaker such as that, where they can kind of laugh and have a good time and laugh at each other before they have their conversation. The men are leading it, and I love that they're facilitating this, but also staying out of the women's, that was so country. The women drama and conversations. I love that they know their role and their place in these moments. So they do have the conversation, and mainly to me it sounded like Tanya is giving Christina the business based off what she heard about her, what her reputation is, because she says, let's get into your reputation here in Detroit, and you're not a nice person, or you're not a good friend, you don't communicate well, and blah, 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 blah. But it wasn't from her perspective. She's saying the people say this. This is what they say. And Christina pressed her, like, who is they? Like, who is they? And she wouldn't say who they was. And Christina said, it sounds like you are handling me based off of what someone else is saying, not based off of you and I, our communication. And that's not right. And I'll just say that I hope that if Tanya does have a personal issue with Christina, that she uses this space to have that conversation and really get what bothers her and kind of put it on the table. And it may be that she just doesn't care enough to even go there, so she's trying to deflect it so she doesn't have to really have this deep conversation. I don't really know. I don't know these people for real. I'm just here watching the show. But that is where the episode ends. And that was episode 3. I enjoyed it. Tell me what you guys think. Are you watching Love and Marriage Detroit? So far, at least I'm going to give them an A for the balance of it all. But the stories are rich enough to keep me engaged. And I love is marriage, they say, is not all peaches and cream. And neither are friendships. We already know that, y'all. So I love that they're having what hopefully looks like honest conversations. And they kind of keep this balance. I don't want to fall asleep on it, so we are going to need, some kind of excitement. But so far, it's not a bad show to watch, in my opinion. It's your girl Duchess, and I'm out.